Hello guys, so we are going to continue a discussion with respect to text splitter, and in this video we are going to discuss about how to split JSON data. Let's say that if we are getting a chunk of JSON data from an API, right? After that, if we read that entire JSON data, how do we split that into chunks so that we'll be able to pass it to our LLM model? So here the JSON splitter, this JSON splitter that we are going to use, splits JSON data while allowing control over chunk sizes. It traverses JSON data depth first and builds smaller JSON chunks. It attempts to keep nested JSON objects whole, but will split them if needed to keep chunks between a minimum chunk size and the maximum chunk size. If the value is not a nested JSON, but rather a very large string, the string will not be split. If you need a hard cap on the chunk size, consider composing this with the recursive text character splitter. So what you can basically do, you can also use along with recursive text splitter. There is an optional pre-processing step to split list by first converting them into JSON dictionary and then splitting them first. Okay. How the text is splitted based on JSON value, how the chunk size is measured by the number of characters. So same thing is basically happening over here. Now let me just go ahead and show you how we can probably go ahead and implement this. For this, I'm going to take this specific example as my API. Okay. So this is a very huge API, right? So big API with all the information that I'm actually getting. I'm saying not huge API, but if I'm hitting this API, I'm able to get so much of information right over here, right? So what we'll do is that here, obviously we cannot read this entire chunk and just use it, right? Instead, what I'll do, I'll try to convert this entire API response in chunks, and then we'll see that how things will work. Okay. So let's quickly go ahead and do this. So first of all, what I will do, I will be using import JSON. Along with this, first of all, let me go ahead and select the kernel. And here I'm going to go ahead and import my requests library. Okay. Let's go ahead and call my JSON data. Now inside this JSON data, we will be using this request library, and I'll be saying, hey, request.get. Okay. Request.get. So once I write request.get, all I have to do is that I have to give my URL over here, right? So this is a get request since I'm reading this entire API, right? So I'll go ahead and hit this particular API over here. And here, what I'm actually going to do, I'll also convert this into .json. So once I get this, this will basically be my JSON data, right? So if you want to probably go ahead and see your JSON data, it will be a huge file. So this is the entire information with respect to the JSON over here, right? And right now here, most of the information is not visible because if you click on scrollable element, then you will be able to see it. Now what we'll do, we will try to we will use this from LangChain text splitter. We will import something called as recursive character or recursive JSON splitter, right? Because here we know that there are also nested elements inside this particular JSON. Okay. Like JSON has a value, inside that value, there is another JSON. Okay. So what we'll do over here, we'll quickly go ahead and write our JSON splitter. So I will just go ahead and create my JSON_splitter. And here we will be initializing this recursive JSON splitter. Here we can give a maximum chunk size. Let's say the maximum chunk size that I want to give is 300. Okay. And after this, I will go ahead and write JSON_chunks is equal to JSON splitter dot split_JSON. Okay. And here we are going to give our entire JSON_data. Okay. And this is what is my JSON_data, which I have actually got it over here. Okay. Once I give this, then you'll be able to see that I will be able to get this JSON chunks. So now if I go ahead and execute this JSON chunks, you'll be able to see, hey, we are getting something, but right now again, you'll not be able to see it. So what we'll do, we'll just go ahead and print the top 3 chunks. So I'll write from chunk for chunk in JSON_chunk. Let's take the top 3 element. Okay. Top 3 document, and then we'll go ahead and print the chunk. So here I will just go ahead and print it. So this is my first chunk, OpenAI in the key value pairs. Then the second one with respect to paths, then third one with respect to path, right? And this is how easily you are able to probably get this entire information. You may be also having a scenario right now. If you see this chunk, it is normally in the key value pair, but let's say I want to get this into documents. So the splitter can also output also output documents. Okay. So here I'm going to create my documents, and let's go ahead and use this splitter again. Sorry, JSON splitter dot. Here instead of writing this, I will use create documents. Again, in the create documents, we will give a parameter which will be my text. And here I'm just going to give my JSON underscore data. Okay. Now, once I get to my docs, again, I can go ahead and display for doc and docs of, let's see, the top 3 docs. I will just go ahead and print the doc. So here you can see this is my documents, right? The same information that I'm able to get it. Okay. Now, let's say that I want to also directly get the string content. Okay. I don't want in this particular format like page underscore content or something like that, right? So for that also what you can do, you can directly get this particular text just by writing splitter or JSON splitter dot split underscore text, right? So there is also split underscore text, split underscore JSON, and here I'm just going to give my JSON data. Okay. And if I go ahead and write print, let's say text of 0, and let's go ahead and print the text of 1, we'll be able to display both of them, right? So both this information is basically getting displayed. So I hope you got this idea about how you can split with JSON with the help of recursive JSON split data. Let me just see the library again, recursive JSON splitter. Okay. And again, these are just the splitting techniques. Now in the upcoming videos, we are going to see about different embedding techniques.